For us, the concept is something called ground truth, which is what are the facts on the ground? The scientific definition of ground truth is you run a test in a lab, on a bench, and then someone says, great, you've been able to model or replicate in a lab or laboratory setting a certain state, status, or some physical transaction or some execution. And the next question is, well, let's go see what happens in the real world. What's the ground truth? In the national security space, the ground truth is we have satellite imagery. We have all kinds of signal intelligence. We may think we know where someone is, or we think we may know what their intentions are, or what their actions are about to be, but what is the ground truth? Get outside of the analyst center or the analysis center and get out into the field. The ground truth in that instance means putting boots on the ground, or putting drones in the air, or under IoT, putting sensors, remote autonomous sensors in places that we need ground truth but won't necessarily go. In both conditions or both states, we're talking about getting out of the controlled environment and getting into the real world. What IoT does is proposes to put those sensors in those places that maybe we haven't been before or we can't be persistently, and gives us the opportunity to know what's there, how long it's been there. It's basically state, status, and location. That ground truth gives us an objective fact base. With sensors so cheap, most of these solutions are technically feasible, they're financially feasible. We just have to work on whether they're operationally relevant. In other words, what are we going to connect? What data are we going to get? What decisions will that support? Does this matter? You don't just run and connect anything. You connect the stuff that matters. Everyone should have access to some digital assets. And when it comes to the Internet of Things, the key is what do we do with the data? And how do we enable the maximum number of stakeholders, the maximum breadth of stakeholders who are well-intentioned and are bringing value? How do they get access to some of the data? How do they get to go and create new value? And so for me, the physical deployment, it's there, but then I get to the data deployment, and I think that's where the major conversations need to take place. And so the potential, I think, of the Internet of Things is if we're intentional about deploying the intelligence, we'll create ground truth about the physical world that matters to us.